Thank you. Oh, don't get up. Come on, you guys. That's good to see you. See some old friends here. Thank you for saying hello. In front of a place of law enforcement, and so I want to talk about law enforcement and as it relates to a couple of things. One is immigration, and the other is with regards to how we treat our criminals and the process of commutations and pardons. And there are some differences between the people running for president. We face some very extraordinary challenges in America these days. And I think that's one of the reasons why Americans want to see real change in Washington, why they're concerned that if we could keep going down the same path we've been on, that our future may not be as bright as our past. I'm convinced our future will be brighter, and that America will, in fact, follow the path that Ronald Reagan chose as he faced the great challenge of the last century. And that's a path of strength. As we face the threat of Soviet expansionism, he said, I'm going to strengthen the values of our country, our optimism, our sense of the future. We're going to have the energy and passion and values to lead the world. He also strengthened our economy by holding down taxes. And he strengthened our military and produced what was, without question, the strongest military in the history of the world. And the Soviets, frankly, couldn't keep up on any of the three scores. Their values failed compared to ours. Their economy couldn't keep up, and their military fell behind. And as a result, we were able to overwhelm the Soviets in that great conflict of the last century. Today, with the challenges we face, I believe as well it's time to be a nation of strength and to strengthen our families and our values, to strengthen our economy and our jobs, and to strengthen at the same time our military. And so as we look at those challenges, I see, for instance, in our values, a need to strengthen the American family. And with strong families, we'll be able to teach our kids that before they have babies, they should get married. I had a bill come to my desk that said that illegal aliens should get an in-state tuition break for institutions of higher learning. I said, no way. I vetoed it, and that veto was upheld. Governor Huckabee fought for a provision that would give in-state tuition to illegals, and he also fought for scholarships for illegals paid for by taxpayers. We have very different views when it comes to sanctuary policies, if you will, as it relates to illegals. And, of course, Mayor Giuliani, a good friend as well, Mayor Giuliani presided over a sanctuary city. He said, and this is almost a quote, if you happen to be here with undocumented status, that means illegal, then we welcome you to New York and we'll protect you in New York. Those policies of not recognizing the need to enforce the law have become, in some respects, touchstone policies in our party this year, as we look at the commitment of people to enforcing the law, and particularly enforcing those laws as they relate to illegal immigration. Now, there are other differences that relate to things that seem also law enforcement associated. One of them relates to pardons and commutations. This is a very difficult challenge you face as a governor. I understand in this state, the governor does not have the power to commute sentences or make pardons. That may or may not be accurate, but that's what I was told. Do you know whether that's the case? I'm looking at both these. Well, we'll check to make sure that's the case. But in my state, I had the power to commute sentences or to pardon people. And Governor Huckabee had the same power in his state. And I reviewed from time to time the applications of people that came forward. We had guidelines that we followed as we looked at these applications. It's fair to say that if I were to learn that somebody was innocent by virtue of DNA evidence, for instance, that showed that they were innocent, of course I would then pardon them. If there were judicial or prosecutorial indiscretion of some kind, that would certainly be a candidate for commutation or pardon as well. But in my 4 years as governor, despite the many requests that came to my desk, I granted none of them. My view was that if a person is convicted of a crime by a jury of their peers, they ought to serve the time and not be let out by a governor. Now, in the case of Governor Huckabee, he also faced a number of individuals coming forward for pardons and commutations, and he gave out 1,033, even more than the prior three governors combined. And one of those prior governors was Bill Clinton. That, in my view, is not the right course.